Hey everyone, before I get on with this video, I just want to give a massive thank you to everybody that has supported me with my Spirit Music Box app and my Spirit Typer app. I'm so overwhelmed by the positive feedback you've all given me, the help that you've given me, using it in your videos. Seriously, I can't thank you enough. I'm so grateful. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. I don't know how to show my thanks enough. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. So I've been doing a lot of testing and researching with LiDAR recently. LiDAR stands for light detection and ranging, or laser imaging detection and ranging. This is a LiDAR sensor. It's the little black bit. It's not the red PCB. That's just for some connectors to hook it up to some microprocessors. So yeah, it's the little black bit. And what that has is an 8x8 array of infrared lasers. Now they're not very strong. I think they're somewhere in the region of 600 to 1,000 nanometers. And if they were any stronger, people would be getting blinded. And that, it would cause real problems with people's eyes. So they're not very powerful lasers. But how they work is in this 8x8 array, it fires out a laser out of each section of that array, and it measures the distance between itself and the object that the light hits. Now, iPhone have started using LiDAR sensors. They started using them a while ago on the front-facing camera, but since the iPhone 12 Pro, 13 Pro and 14 Pro, they come with a built-in LiDAR sensor. I think the array is bigger than this sensor here. I'm not too sure on the size of the array. I'm pretty sure it's bigger. So what I'm going to do, I'll give you an example of how that works in the dark using my night vision camera. So here we are in the dark in my office, just getting my LiDAR app out that I'm working on at the moment. Right, let's turn that on. So here you can see the infrared lasers coming out of the LiDAR sensor. I think there's a 3x3 array of 5x8 lasers, if that makes sense. What I should have done really is just held it in place and kept it still. That way we would have been able to have seen the flashes of the lasers and seen where they're actually pointing to. Okay, so I don't know the rate at what the lasers fire out, but they're pretty quick. I'm just going to pause it for a moment because I'd like to explain something. So a little bit of a lesson about light waves. Light waves are made up of photons. Here's an example of a photon, okay? So I just want you to bear this in mind. When a photon from the sun enters a plant through its leaf, it goes into the chloroplast. And when this happens, something happens to the photon. It becomes what's known as an exciton. I'm not going to go into the details. I don't want to bore you too much. So this exciton, it's a quasi-particle. It's smaller than a photon particle. And what that does is it needs to find what's known as an electron hole, and it needs to put itself into this hole to give the plant energy. Now this electron hole could be anywhere within this chloroplast. So in order to find it, instead of it just randomly moving around inside the chloroplast to find it, that would use up all of its energy. So to make the search quicker, it turns itself into a 3D wave, searches the whole chloroplast at the same time finds the hole and basically teleports itself inside this electron hole, which then gives the plant the energy from this exciton quasi-particle. So just bear that in mind, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I will turn my light on, and you will be able to see them still using my infrared camera but with the light on. Okay. So here is my office with the light on. Turn on my app again. So even though it's light, using my infrared camera, you can see the lasers. Okay, that's enough about lighted lasers for now. Let's move on to something else. So do you remember that time I was testing out my face detection in my SLS app using Peggy the Haunted Doll and Zach Baggins? Well, I was using my Mac screen and I decided to do a few tests. Unfortunately, I haven't got any footage of this, so you're just going to have to put up with Peggy's face for now. So what I was doing, my monitor was off on my Mac and I was using my face detection to see if I could pick up the reflection of my face in my Mac monitor. So this was a completely black screen, it's glass, and it was reflective. And when I did that, I momentarily had a thought, hang on a minute, aren't mirrors supposed to be classed as some type of portal? Anyway, being a scientist, I thought, it's just reflections. I don't understand any of that stuff, and so I just forgot all about it. And a few weeks ago, I joined a live stream chat on YouTube, and I got chatting with a guy who's I class as quite a good friend now, called PPR, and he's built his own scrying mirror. He does some pretty crazy stuff with it, actually. And I got talking to him about it, and he did say that my Mac monitor, when it's off, because it's black and glass, it could actually be classed as a type of portal to the spirit realm, like a window, like you can see into the spirit world through it. Now this is something I've never really looked into before. I did a bit of research. I've seen some videos now, not like big videos with millions of views. These are like kind of small videos with not many views of what looks like faces appearing in these scrying mirrors. I'm not going to go into detail about scrying mirrors. If you want to look it up, just Google scrying mirror. You can have a read about it. So anyway, that gave me an idea, and this is what I did. So here's my Mac. It is off. Nice black screen that's glass. Okay, so this is what I did. I opened up my LiDAR app and I pointed it into it. And this is what I saw. Okay, so that is me sat in the chair. And behind me is my office. First of all, I just want to say that looks pretty spooky to me. But what if what my LiDAR app is seeing is the spirit realm? Now don't get me wrong, right? I'm a scientist and my physics brain is saying that's just the reflection of your office in your Mac screen. But I'm also open-minded and I want to find the spirit realm. So what if that is actually the spirit realm? Well, if that is the spirit realm, right now the lasers on my phone are firing photon energy into it. Now, if spirits can sense the energy within the spirit realm, like fishing, if you like, do you know if you go to a harbour, you throw a bit of bacon into the water, it doesn't instantly get covered in fish and crabs. They have to sense that it's in the water, right? And they'll make their way over to it and start eating it. So what if spirits, if this is the spirit realm that I'm seeing, what if they start sensing the photons from the lasers? They're like, oh, I can sense some energy, right? I know this is probably sounds completely nuts, but bear with me. I've explained about the energy from photons and the excitons and the quasi-particles, okay? What if the quantum realm and the spirit realm cross over somewhere, and these spirits, they sense this energy coming from the lasers and they make their way over to it? Now eventually, if they find it, I should be able to see one, right? Now there's a problem. The lasers from the LiDAR sensor aren't very strong, so it's like throwing a little tiny piece that's been ripped off of bacon into the sea. So what if I build a machine that can fire a lot of energy into a proper scrying mirror? Okay, so that's my experiment that I want to try. What do you reckon? Am I playing with fire here? Is it possible for me, if I build the right type of machine, which I think I know how to do? In fact, there's no thinking about it. I know exactly what type of machine I need to build. In fact, I've already worked it out. Yeah, what if I can get a proper scrying mirror, build my machine, point it at the scrying mirror? If this is the spirit realm, then this is what I think I'm looking at through a window or a portal into the spirit realm. I could build a machine, point it to a scrying mirror, and I actually think that I could open up a doorway to the spirit realm. Or if I pump enough energy into the spirit realm, spirits will sense that. Side note, I was in another live stream the other day. We was talking about a theory called the Orc-OR. Just Google that. I'm not going to go into it in detail. We were talking about what happens to the consciousness after we pass away. Like, where does it go? Anyway, to cut a very long story short, this is my theory. I've not heard it from anybody else. This is my theory, my research, and my thoughts. What if when we die, our consciousness becomes a quasi-particle, like an exciton? It turns into a 3D wave to find the electron hole, and if it finds the electron hole, it passes over to wherever, heaven, hell, the spirit realm, wherever it goes. But if it uses up its energy before it finds the electron hole, the consciousness gets stuck in our world. Yeah, how about that? Just a thought.